Awesome. All right, y'all. Welcome to Make Happy Podcast.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Today we're joined by a very special guest. Sir, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Shane Thresher. I am the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist of Vettagrit. Grunge band.
Hell yeah. And Shane and I went to school at MI together doing audio engineering.
Indeed.
And that's how we got here today.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks so much for having us in your backyard.
Dude.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're on this mini ramp right now.
Yeah.
And it is a challenge because it's so slippery. Like if
Find the right
anything,
spot.
I've already almost ate shit trying to set up.
I fell a few times.
Yeah.
Dude.
And yeah, I think the first time I came to visit Shane, we were kicking in the garage, and his grandma took a bong hit with us.
That's legendary.
Yeah.
What was that, like a 3-star wanted level? That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
3-star wanted level, dude.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
It's a good rating chart. It's a good thing to go by.
I'm trying to think of like the most wise person I've ever gotten high with, and they just weren't. They weren't that wise.
They weren't wise enough.
They weren't that.
They were just
well,
old. They were just old.
They were no saying like they were not like grown enough to be wise. So like I'm just like wondering like what an experience that is.
Yeah, I think it was more she was trying to make sure I wasn't a crackhead hanging out with Shane.
Oh, that's cool. See, that's a good grandma move.
Yeah.
A GGM, a good granny move.
A good gram move.
GGM.
Put that on a sticker and sell it, dude. Oh, shoot.
So your band is it Vettagrit? Am I saying
Vettagrit.
that right? Did I say that wrong?
Vettagrit.
Vettagrit.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I forgot to grab stickers. I was going to, like, have a sticker so I'd be like, it's like this.
Well, we can show
pop
the
it
logo in the.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I can send
You
that
know.
to you.
Vettagrit.
Yeah, Vettagrit.
Vettagrit.
So it's like, think about a Corvette. Take the core out and then put grit at the end of that. So it's vet. So you put it.
Is that how you got it?
Literally.
Oh wow.
It was that way because it was just like, we were making music that was really gritty. It was just really kind of more, it was more intense than what we were making before in Sunwick.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was talking to Caesar on the phone and I was like, dude, I don't really know what to call this band. And he's like, well, the music is fast. And I was like, it is fast. And it's got this grit to it. And he was just like, you know what was fast? And I was like, huh. He goes like, the Corvette was fast. And I was like, yeah, but Corvette, what? We can't put that in anything. He's just like, no, you just got to take some letters away. So sat down for a little bit and then just took vet and then put an A after it and then put grit. And it was Vettagrit. And I was like,
Solid.
whoa, that sounds actually kind of pretty sick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's use that because it's fast and it's gritty.
Yeah.
And it represents exactly what we're trying to do. It's fast, gritty, but we're also trying to harken back to like, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all the greats of grunge and stuff like that. You know, put a little bit of a modern metal twist on it.
It almost sounds like a fancy cheese.
It does.
Vettagrit, coming to your store soon.
Yeah.
to your local Sprouts and Vons.
So what got you started then in music?
Oh man, that goes back many years. Dude, I was actually 6 years old when I first actually started recognizing what my dad was playing in the car, and I was like, what is this? And he was just like, oh, you're actually starting to recognize what this is. He's like, this is a band called System of a Down.
Oh, nice.
He's like this band, I don't want to show you everything yet, and I've later understood why. 6-year-old probably shouldn't be listening to that.
Sure.
But it was that, and then after that, it was Metallica, Megadeth, Korn, and then it sprouted into Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. And that's where I really started to connect, was when I started listening to Alice and I started listening to, Nirvana and Soundgarden. That was like, whoa. So you could still have really pretty melodic parts in music, but you can also have like a fucking blaring, screaming part in the middle, in like the midsection, and it works.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so it's not hardcore, it's not metalcore, it's grunge.
It's softcore.
It's softcore.
Hold on.
Don't look that up on your browser.
Vettagrit OnlyFans.
So you mentioned Soundgarden, and you're in a grunge band.
Yeah.
You sort of identify with grunge. Is it that sound of like late '90s Seattle, like the electric guitars and sort of the ambient spaces?
Oh yeah.
Sort of what emotion highlights grunge to you?
For me, it's definitely the world that gets created with, the way that the music is made. It's not made to be super complicated. It's not made to be like, holy shit, he's shredding. It's, it is very, how do you put it? I don't want to say basic, 'cause that's not the right word. It's very simple in the way of chord progressions. But the thing is that way, when you hear a solo come up, you're like, oh wow, that's okay. So that dude knows how to shred. It's not showing all of your cards all at once.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's being able to still have your cards and be able to play one down and be like, yep, that's what I want to represent this space. And every single grunge song that I've heard, especially from Alice, dude, like all of their music represents the lyrics, and the lyrics represent the music.
That's beautiful when they kind of go hand in hand like that. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that other other genres can't do that. It's just grunge for me in that way was aggressive enough but soft enough to actually grab my attention and be like, oh, this is tasteful.
Yeah, it's the genre that speaks to you the loudest. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there like a particular key that you find yourself like writing or singing in often? I ask that not really knowing anything about keys, so you can BS this answer.
That's the thing. With keys, it actually has to do with a lot with like, I'm a hippie guy. I like to do my meditation and stuff.
Oh,
so
frequencies.
It's frequencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I mess around with a riff, and I hit a certain section that starts to make me feel warmer, or it starts to actually like resonate through my skin, like I can feel tingles, I'm like, this is okay. This is where I am, and then I'll put on my tuner and I'll play where the root is, and 90% of the time it's C sharp, which is the actual tuning that I tune into. It's not because it's just like, oh, he's finding the 12th fret, or like, finding an octave of some sort. It's literally, if I'm in E standard, if I'm in drop D, if I'm in, double octave drop D and on an 8 string, C sharp, almost every time, because it represents something, and I don't know if this is going to make sense at all, but what was it? I represented, or I explained it as like hopeful hopelessness. It has this feeling like, where it's like, it feels like it's bringing you up, but at the same time,
but it's not.
Right. It has like a cap.
Yeah.
It's like the best part about what you think is going to happen is right above it, but you just can't get to it. You're just stuck here. It's
The best songs are like
hopelessness.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are you always kept weighing the first fret? C sharp.
First fret gets used sometimes, man. Jeez.
I'm a second fretter.
A second fretter. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Hey, whatever makes it sound good.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. I used to be critical as hell with that, dude. Like, sitting down with the guitar and being like,
Oh, the capos and shit, or
no, just like,
the musicality of it.
They should be like, you can't repeat these things more than this many times, or it's gonna suck. God, I would scrap some of these things because of that.
Where do you think that comes from? Is that like from school training, or is that from like
Mental.
obsessing? Okay.
It's totally mental. Like
Okay.
it has, at least for me, because it's like I don't come from a place of like former training or, you know, anything like that. I never went to school for, you know, musicality for guitar. So I don't really know anything. I just know it sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, so when I'm sitting down and my brain says, no, that doesn't sound good, I'm like, fuck, okay, fine, I'll just scrap it. And then I'll show it to somebody else and they're like, what the heck? Like, I'll show it to, you know, my lead guitarist or my drummer or my bass guitarist, and they'll be like, why did you stop writing this? Like, why? And I'm like, well, it's not that good. And they're like, dude, it's not that it's like that good. It's good enough to start with because it's never going to sound perfect until the rest of the instruments are in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess you're right.
You gotta add the other seasonings to it.
Right.
To make the meal.
Yeah.
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 You have to let the demos be demos and sort of, you know, allow grace for the rest to come.
Right. Demoitis.
Would you say that comes with, like, I think artists have a thing with, like, perfection and wanting things to be, it has to be exactly like this, or if it's not, blah, 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 you know, like, so I get, you know, I had to learn to let go of that too, in a sense of, because it kind of just holds back the music and holds back, like, you putting out a project because you think whatever it is you're thinking.
Oh,
you
totally.
know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, no, it totally, it revolves around how critical you are about yourself and your own work, and also what you can approve as being good enough. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a perpetual loop of showing other people and trying to figure out if it's good enough, or being able to trust yourself when you're making it.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, this is something that I could use. And that's
always a tough line, because you can always add more.
Yeah,
like
totally. Post is a thing, you know. People get mad about that, but post is a thing.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what Mike always told us in school. He's like one of my favorite engineer instructors at MI, and Michael.
Yeah.
And he'd always be like, all right, you got a project going, right? When are you going to post it? When are you going to post it?
Exactly.
When are you going to post the project, huh?
Exactly.
It needs to be done. You got to post it. When are you going to post it? Like, it always does it. Every time you see it's like, did you post that project yet? You know, and it's like, that was like the thing he always said, like, who gives a fuck? Like, you just got to finish it and just post it and move on to the next project. Like, just fucking go.
Because the next one's going to be better.
Yep.
And if it's not better, the one after that sure will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool, because you could find yourself, like we were talking about the perpetual loop thing.
Yeah.
You know, you could find yourself doing the same thing in that realm too. Like, where you can't get yourself to post something because you keep going back to that same thing because you keep learning more. And you're like, oh, I could have done this better, so I'm going to change it now before I release it. And then right before you release it, you have another, you know. So as opposed to doing that with one song, being able to, like Michael was saying, being able to post, you know, that one thing now, because that's a representation of what you've done in that moment.
Yeah.
It's a picture of that moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you move on to the next moment, which should be better, which makes it to where you should be more desirable within the field of audio. Yeah. Because, you know, that shows your progression as an actual, you know, engineer.
Artist.
And an artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
So then you went to school for engineering. And why did you choose engineering versus like just doing like the guitar program or some shit?
Oh man, that was actually kind of hard for me to decide what I wanted to do, because I had a thought about it and I was like, I want to be the best that I can be, you know, playing guitar, because that's what I do.
Yeah, it's your craft.
Yeah, that was the beginning of everything for me, was that. It wasn't, you know, audio stuff that came later on. But I thought about it and I was like, you know, if I choose something that's going to make it to where I'm going to have to be working something that I love doing as a job, to come home to do something that I love doing, not getting paid for it at that moment, it's going to feel flattening. And it's not because I'm not getting paid. It's because of the fact that it's like, I'm going to put my brain into somebody else's work at the same level that I need to put into my own when I get back home.
Okay.
So that means that my own projects would suffer from that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for engineering, so then I know what I'm doing there. So when I am at work, I'm just recording people or mixing, not even maybe even talking to a band. I might just be mixing their stuff, and then I get to go home and talk to my band, record their stuff, and have enough time to do that and energy. You know, so
you looked at it on the practical sense.
Yeah.
Of like, I only have this amount of energy, and I know I do. And instead of spending it here, and then I can't spend energy on my own shit, let me make sure that I have something where I can bring in some bread, but still have enough energy for my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's 100% on par, my good sir.
It's wise.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You know what's funny about that is I was the opposite. I was trying to go into the guitar program, but I couldn't play the guitar good enough.
I get you. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you have to audition to get into the program.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That's when I found out I wasn't good enough.
Paint me the picture. Like, walk me into the room.
Yeah, so like it was on the phone. It was like an interview, it was like a job interview.
Bro, they auditioned your guitar playing over the phone?
Yeah.
Just go YouTube.
Yeah, but it was like FaceTime.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, right. So like I'm talking to the guitar instructor, and he was like, "Okay, play me arpeggio," and I was like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, and he was like, like play a chord, but with like single notes. Oh, like this. And he's like, yeah, kinda, but like not like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay. And then it was like, well, play me like a chord progression. Okay, what do you want? It was like, play this, and then I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Like I'm not playing it smoothly and shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is not gonna work. So I was like, okay, well, this. She was like, okay, well, it seems like you need some work and you need to practice some of these things. So, give it like a week or two and then you can try again or whatever. Oh. And then in that, I was like, yeah, this is not going to happen. What can I do instead? I was like, fucking auto engineering. There's engineering in it. I guess so that'll work. Like, fuck it. I'll just run with that.
Yep.
I'm good with technology. I know how to do this shit. I can press buttons. I'm really good at learning. So I was like, I'm just going to fucking run with that instead.
Dude, you were fast as shit in school, dude. Like, to be fairly honest, you were really quick to pick up on shit, and then you would immediately be like, oh yeah, like this, and half the time I'd be like, hey, how'd you do that?
Yeah, because the board is intimidating when you first see it. It's like, what the fuck? Like all these buttons, and then once you understand, like, oh, it's all the same, and then you just have to figure out like how to get that sound over here. You're like, oh, okay. And then that's kind of just how my approach was. It was like, okay, what's the fucking, how do I just get that sound over there?
Yep.
And then it was just like, it just started clicking. Yeah. It was just, that's why I kind of lean more into that, because I was like, oh, this is my strong suit. Because like with music and playing, I can play, right? But it just doesn't come as naturally as I would like it, like other things do. No, totally. So I just fucking went into something that just more natural to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And like with playing an instrument, it really comes down to practicing on your own time, right?
100%.
I took one guitar lesson, and the guy told me, like, you just need to practice more. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm telling you stuff, like, you get it. It's chords, it's notes, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 7, I don't know, whatever. Jump around.
Yeah.
He just said, like, practice. He said practice. Because, like, you can have somebody sort of, like, spoon feed you a radio, and clearly I don't know any of this stuff. Or you can just figure it out yourself. And I think when you figure it out yourself, like you were saying, how you write music, you sort of sense the vibrations through the instrument. I think that's how you learn to play an instrument, unless you're raised probably from a young age, like through classical or jazz.
Yeah.
You just got to feel it yourself. It's like learning a new language. Totally. You immerse yourself in it.
100%.
Yeah, my sister got the music talent.
Really?
Yeah, she on the piano, like she can just hear a song and she'll just like, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
On a piano, that's freaking ridiculous.
And then on the uke too, she'll be like, oh,
what the heck?
She'll be like, oh, here's the song, and then she'll be like, what's the notes, and she'll just pluck at it for a little bit. 5 minutes later, she's like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm here spending a whole month trying to learn a song, like, goddamn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got drums, bass, and guitar, and like vocals on my hands, and like I'll fuck around with the kalimba and like mess around with like keys on my MIDI board. But like to sit down and think to be like, oh, Beethoven's Fifth. Yeah, I can figure that out.
Like anything.
That's
Like even on
crazy.
the radio, like whatever she can hear on the radio, she would just be like,
Wow.
she'll figure out the chords, and then all of a sudden she can play that shit. And I'm just like, wow.
That's insane.
impressive.
That's a different kind of ear for music.
Yeah,
dude.
for real.
Yeah.
That was like that was the
Superhuman.
gift that she got. So I got
for
like
her.
the other gifts, I guess.
You got the gift of beating people up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got the gift of being like a freaking literal walking weapon.
Yeah.
So,
That took a long time to get to though.
yeah.
But so then where does skateboarding come into play in all this?
Dude. It really comes into, when I can't write a song that represents how I feel at all. I can't write a song that makes it to where I can get everything that I'm feeling out of my system, because that's really what it is. Like, I'll start with the guitar part, and then I'll go to the drums and the bass and the lyrics, and I'll usually get that done within a day. And then I'll be like, okay, I feel good. I have a really rough draft of what I am feeling right now, and I can listen back to it when I feel this way again, and I'll feel all right. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes I have to go in the backyard, or anywhere really, and skate, just find a spot and pick something that I know is going to be ridiculously hard to do, and just go for it over and over and over and over again. You might fall, you might bleed, you just get back up and keep doing it again. Like, the whole thing is that you give blood to the skate gods, they give back to you. So, you'll at least land that trick once. It might be sketch as fuck, but that's the thing. It's a different outlet for, like, I guess it would be aggression or anger. I don't know, but like it allows me to meditate in a way, and like disperse negative feelings that I'm having. So I'm a very solitary skater. Like when I go and skate, I'm very much by myself. I want to be like in total silence, just attacking this one thing over and over again as many times as I want to. Like, that's why I don't really go to parks that much.
Oh.
I'm like a little street rat, dude. I'll find like a back alley that has like a cool ass little curb, and I'll just be like,
Are you
I'm gonna
still
slap you that.
Solitary.
Are you
Yeah.
still skating, or are you doing the scootering still? Because
Dude.
you showed me some.
Yeah.
Dude, this dude was fucking doing like backflips and shit on the
Whoa,
scooter. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. I was like,
Dude.
what the fuck? That's nuts.
That was back in the day when I didn't value my neck. Dude, scooters are a different kind of ow.
Different kind of owl.
Oh God, yeah. Dude, like, a lot of skaters will be like, "You're a pussy, 'cause you scooter." Like, they'll talk down to you for it, but what they don't
it
realize.
looks gay, but but you were doing some gnarly shit on that thing.
That's the thing. Is like, but like there'll be skaters that'll be like, "Yeah, that shit's stupid, bro." But at the same time, these dudes that are going upside down, I respect them, bro. I respect them. And it's like, okay. So I was like, if I just learn how to go upside down, I'll be fine. And I got like semi-sponsored-ish by a scooter group that was around here called Demolition.
Yeah.
For like a blink of an eye when I was like 12.
Whoa.
That's sick.
And I wrote
Damn,
for
you were
them.
doing some crazy shit at 12, dude. That's fucking crazy.
I mean, I
Whoa.
wasn't doing fucking flips back then.
Yeah.
But I did my first flip at like 14. But
Wow.
I was at Marie Kerr Skate Park.
Uh-huh.
Those of you who don't know, that is a really rickety skate park that was made by construction workers that were not told how to make ramps. And we put a mattress at the very top of a quarter pipe because I went like this and it was flat. So you just launch yourself off of it, try whatever you wanted, and hit the mattress.
Whoa.
In theory. A lot of the time, there was a like a 5 foot, 6 foot bowl off to the left. So if you overshot that or like missed it by just this much, you would be going about 5 or 6 feet higher than where you were above the ground on the QP.
Oh, dang.
So you'd be eating it hard. I did a couple of flips and got photos of it, and then stopped because I landed on my neck and shoulders, like kind of like this, with like the ground here. I kind of just like side scorpion, like, and then fell on the ground, and I was like, no. And that's when Demolition was like, we already have a guy that could do backflip double tail whip, and I was like, okay, what does that mean for me? I'm a gap guy. Like I like jumping over crazy gaps and shit. Like, if you don't make it, you're gonna get fucked up. Like, I loved that shit, but they didn't like that enough.
What?
So like, we need people that go upside down and aren't afraid to. If you could backflip that gap, bro, that you could and I was like, no, dude, I'm fucking 14 years old.
Crazy.
I'm not doing that.
Can you break your neck again?
Yeah, I was like,
The
Bro.
man is always trying to get just a little more.
Oh my god, yeah. And I was just like, no, you guys could do all that crazy shit, and that's cool. But I'm not Ryan Williams, so I'm good. I'm just gonna let him do all that stuff off of mega ramps and stuff, and I'll watch from a distance and keep my neck intact.
Yeah.
But skating had something to say about that one.
Skating had something. You have a different skating.
Dude.
Dang, man. I'm lucky I never really broke my shit like skateboarding. I've messed myself up pretty bad.
Oh man.
But I've never like broke something, which is lucky.
I've been taught lessons by the skate gods. I'll say that much. Like I was like, skate gods, whatever the fuck. No. And then it started happening more, and I was like, maybe this shit's real.
We need to start praying more.
Praying to something.
Yeah, dude.
Sheesh.
Oh. Yeah, no, skating, I ended up fracturing. I don't know what they're called. Medical people, don't get mad at me for this. I don't know. But there's like these little fins, like the, you know.
Oh, on your vertebrae?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fractured the tips of those. Because I fell not this way this time. I actually fell like this with like the ground flat here.
Dang,
So
bro, you need to learn how to fall.
Dude, that's the thing. I was like, all right, we're chill, cause like I'll explain. I'm a goofy foot, so I'm right foot forward. So I'm coming up to it backside, and it's a like 11-foot bowl. I'm coming up to just
Damn, that's scary.
Yeah, you know, it's all right.
Fuck no.
It's once you have the speed, it flows pretty good. You kind of forget how big it is after a while.
Yeah.
Like once you kind of get over the fear of like you're riding a fucking wall, like it gets a little bit better, but it doesn't get better when you go up to do a trick that you can do.
Yeah.
I just go up to do backside 50, and I was just like, you know, it's just literally getting outside of the coping.
Yeah.
You know, and then leaning.
Yeah, and then
you know,
getting onto the
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really chill, and you just kind of slide around and you get back in. But I usually run longer trucks, like old,
the
like,
wider ones.
Yeah, because I ride an old school style board.
Yeah.
Right now I'm riding a Caballero Dragon right now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, those boards are wide.
Super, but
and
they're
heavy.
But that's the thing, though. You have a lot more foot placement to be able to get the board to kind of warp the way you need to, like in a bowl. It's not really a street thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that can.
Yeah.
Chris Height, he can skate those skateboards. He can kick flip them. He can varial flip, 360 flip them, and do them flat. It's pretty sick. But yeah, no, I came up backside, went to go back in, got my front truck off, and then my back truck hung up, and it was just enough for me to slip and not like I was like floating over the top of the freaking floor with my foot, so I couldn't really grab anything. Yeah. Back foot went up, and it spun me around, and before I knew it, I was looking at the sky, and I was just whoop-bam, and I was out. When I woke up, there was people looking at me, and I looked.
Dang, you got knocked out.
Yeah, I was. It was only for like they only said I was out for like a couple minutes. That's not too bad.
That's a long time, dude. A couple minutes.
It's been worse. It's been worse. It's okay.
That can happen in a few minutes.
Shit. Yeah, but yeah. Got up, and this is right after my fucking dad left too, and he's like, "Take it easy, son." I'm like, "Roger that, Dad." Yeah, it didn't work out. Came back, and I was just like, "Hey, Dad, my neck hurts." And he's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I fell really hard, and I think I got knocked out." And he's like, "Okay, let's go to the hospital then." Went there, instantly put me in a neck brace, and I was like,
"Dang,
cool." But the cool thing is about that kind of a break, since it's not like detrimental to the movement of your neck, it won't paralyze you, which was great to hear.
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, no, this is gonna take probably about 6 weeks, just like a regular break, and you could take the brace off, and you'll be okay.
Nice.
I was like, dude, sick. I'm gonna go skate and try it again. But yeah, that day has not come. I was scared away from that bowl, dude.
Shit.
Oh god.
I know you guys can't see how big this ramp is, but it's not very big. It's probably like, I don't know, 3 feet.
Yeah.
And this shit is scary as fuck if you've never been.
Mini ramps are arguably the fastest.
I don't know how many. I've
dude.
busted my ass on ramps like this so many times, and it's like you look at it like, that looks doable, and you get on this bitch, it's like freaking soap and sud, bro. Like you're.
It's the hubris that really gets you. It's because it's so unassuming. You know, you think you can do anything you want on this thing, and then it just takes you.
Yeah, for real.
Because there's not enough wall. Because 3 feet isn't enough for you to catch yourself.
Yeah.
If you're going down when you're on the wall or you're on the coping and you're kind of inside the ramp, you are going straight to the flat bottom, about 3 feet to your anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, punishing. It's little ramps.
So then, every time you've had an injury, were those the times you made the most music?
Yeah, actually, when I had my downtime, I would make the most music when I wasn't, doing any kind of sport related thing. When I was a kid, I was super active with it. I was dirt biking, I was skating, BMX riding, and then also later down the line when I got older, I started getting into like building cars and stuff like that.
Oh.
But
That's cool.
in the midst of all of that, I've been making music. I have not a whole lot out, but I have like over 3,000 finished songs that I just haven't like pushed out to my band yet. It's just kind of like I'm selecting the ones that are like, okay, I want to finish this and make it actually like now, because that was way long ago when I made those songs. It's kind of like a template.
Yeah.
So being able to bring those, you just kind of shoot them at the band and see what they think. So yeah, it helped to do that. Putting in an equal amount of time between doing sports and doing music was important to me. Because without one, I was depressed. Without the other, I was depressed. So, I was like, man, I don't make a lot of money, but I will make this happen because it's stuff that seems that my life needs.
Definitely. Yeah. It's cool that you have that balance of physical activity and music making.
Right.
Yeah, and you've had it since like a young age. Like, what drew you toward physical activity when you were younger?
Dude, my dad's going to be so like, you talked about that on a podcast? Damn.
Oh, shit.
Wasp? Was that a wasp? Or
No, whatever's going to come next. I'm building the anticipation.
Sorry, I just like remember there was wasps over here earlier, and I was like,
Wait a minute. We didn't talk about wasps before we came over. I'm just
Yeah, it's right
kidding.
underneath your button. I'm just kidding. No, there's just been like one or two trying to find a spot. I just keep like kind of taking them out one by one. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, we'll fight them. It's fine.
We'll fight them.
We're tough.
Yeah, my dad actually is kind of a little bit of like a ghost writer. Not a writer, but like a ghost writer of, the skate scene back in the day. My dad was around some of the most important, not all of, but some of the most important events. Like he's been skating in backyards with, names like Tony Hawk and other people back in the day as kids. Not Escapist, he's been able to skate with him. There's a lot of really cool shit. He was actually, if you're out there, if you remember this, because I need to connect the rest of the story, because I've been able to find a little bit about it, but it was a competition back in the day where there was some kid that had blonde hair, kind of like mine, really short, kind of like, buzz on one side and kind of off to the other side, kind of Tony Hawk style. Who supposedly had beaten out Escapist in a competition, and that person happened to be my dad.
Whoa.
One competition, it wasn't like a super important comp. It was just like a, like a fuck around, like show up and let's see what happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like there wasn't like some giant prize for it or anything like that. My dad later then got noticed by Blockhead. It was an old skate company back then. And so I've always been around like skate culture and stuff like that. And needless to say, my dad wasn't too happy when I said, Dad, I want to try to ride a scooter. He was like,
The son turns on the father.
Yeah, dude who hung out with like, you know, Santa Cruz dudes and like Bones guys and like yeah, he
Look
was
at my
not.
scooter, guys.
Yeah,
You take that scooter back.
Who is this? Whose kid is this?
Like-
Who's
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I can't remember. Oh my God, I will never forget the fucking day that my dad took me into Block Bikes to go get the. Oh my God, my first scooter.
Yeah.
He took me in there and it was for I think it was called it was a District scooter. It was red and blue. It was custom. I picked all the pieces out and all this shit.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "All right, that'll be $536, sir."
Holy
And my dad was like, the guy that was like over the counter was kind of like, "It's already made, you know, it's kind of already done." And my dad was like, "Fuck, dude, if you break this thing, I'm killing you." And of course, the first thing that I do when I bring it home, "Hey, Dad, look, I figured out how to grind on the curb." He's like, "No!" He's like, "Only rails, nothing that can fuck the bottom of the scooter up, please." He's like, that's the only thing, like the only time he cared about a scooter is when he had to pay like fucking.
I would care about that too,
Dude.
You were like, dude, I could have bought 5 fucking skateboard completes with this.
Yes, that's exactly that. He was like, I could buy you any skateboard setup you wanted, like the best skateboard setup in the world. And I was like,
It would have been like $120.
right, and he would have been happy. I would have been like,
the most expensive shit, dude. Like you would have been, it would have been $120.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
dude,
Like,
straight up. Oh my God. Oh,
that's
yeah.
funny.
Bless my dad's soul for even
real.
thinking about doing that. Like that's the thing.
I would have been like, looks like you're not getting a scooter today, son.
Dude, like
you're walking
anybody
home.
anybody else, but for some reason my dad was just like, fuck it,
Yeah.
you know. But at least in him doing that, he was able to, you know, open up another door for me to be able to figure out how to do things, because
Yeah.
in some ways scootering is easier, it's just, you know, because you have handlebars, you can pull the, you know, thing up to you. So it makes it a little bit less difficult, you know, when you get hurt more and you can't really move that much. You know, scooters, yeah, it's upper body and stuff like that, but it's not like you're having to like actually actively keep the board stuck to your feet, you know, all the time. That's a full body, full core, everything. I'm not saying that scootering isn't, but the way that I'm doing it, I'm just doing like tail whips and bar spins and 360s and just, you know, regular shit, easy stuff. Nothing like advanced.
It's advanced.
Yeah, it's advanced to
It's
me.
advanced.
Definitely.
That shit's like
Dude, not what these kids are doing
hitting
now.
Your,
Fuck.
hitting your but even in skateboarding, it's like they're playing fucking video games now.
Bro.
Like with skateboarding.
Oh my God, they got cheat codes.
Dude, it's insane. They're like doing like 3-trick combos. Like
Right.
it's like a real fucking skate game now.
Yeah.
Like how good skaters are. Like it's freaking crazy. Back in the day, it was like kickflip, yeah. That's like, what the fuck? That's like an ollie now.
Dude, you kickflip down the stairs?
Yeah, that's it. Now you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
That was huge.
It's just like, all right, so that's the first step. And you're like, first step to fucking what? Oh,
Yeah.
well, now you're gonna do a backside.
The skateboard arms race has gotten out of hand. It's really gotten insane. I'm looking forward to when
Thank you.
to when the skateboarding is like it starts to be like they do a trick, they go up the ramp, they start spinning in the air, and then they start like taking the skateboard apart midair. And then they put the
Putting it back
wheel on the
together.
back, and then they put the one. You know, it's like once skateboarding becomes Fortnite,
Yeah.
watch out.
Yeah, there's some insane stuff going on with it, and it's interesting that you got like the punk and rock is so synonymous with skateboarding, and which makes sense why like your dad was showing you this stuff, because it's like literally
Yes.
part of the culture of it.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's so much more that goes, and like that's another reason why I love fucking grunge so much, dude. It's not so much about the music, it's about your lifestyle too. It's about, you know, it's not about imprinting and looking like Kurt Cobain. You know what I mean? It's about being able to go out there and be a regular human being. Listen to what you listen to, and, you know, enjoy what you enjoy. But like, it's mostly for, you know, kids that are going out there and dudes that are going out there, gals, whoever, people that are going out there skating, snowboarding, you know, anything that has to do with like high energy. You want to have a music that can kind of, you know, that can kind of anthem that for you. You know, like if I'm going and snowboarding, I've got some kind of metal, some kind of, you know, grunge, something in my head while I'm going down. It just gives me that energy to kind of push a little harder. You know, it amps you up.
So, damn, what was I gonna say? What defines grunge? Like, what is the difference between like grunge or rock or metal, or, you know what I mean? Because like for me, it's like when I hear like, yeah, like just screaming and stuff, I automatically think it's just like metal.
Metal, yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference between like what's grunge and then what's like metal or whatever? You know what I mean?
Dude, that's the thing. There's so many subgenres of fucking everything. I still see everything in the sense of country, pop, metal, alternative, grunge, classic, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Just like the regular, you know, the top tiers of each of these categories. That's usually what my brain sees. I don't usually look for like the subcategories. So when I'm looking at grunge, I'm looking at it as grunge is an alternative rock, essentially. Like if you use like the subcategory kind of names for it, yeah, it's like an alternative rock that is a little bit more aggressive, but also has a little bit more of like a real factor to it, in the sense of like the lyrics are not going to be pretty. They are not going to be nice to you. And if you have, you know, possibly issues with, you know, things, because I know people have this going on where they'll get triggered by
Like
certain elements.
Example of some lyrics.
Oh shit, dude. Man. Shoot, I mean, my own or just in general? Dude, like
either one.
Fucking Alice in Chains, fucking you know, Crawling Back to Start. That is literally just one sentence in this whole song, you know, and I'm crawling back to start. It really represents the fact that like you're gonna have this visceral image of somebody who might have something wrong with their legs or whatever your brain makes up, pulling themselves back to wherever they're going.
Okay.
And so it's a lot more of like a graphic representation of these feelings. So it puts it in a real world perspective rather than sugarcoating it. So it's sugarcoating in the way of making the lyrics sound not necessarily profound, but
like,
put together.
Okay. So it's poetic.
Yeah.
In a sense of like you're trying to be very descriptive of a negative or what is perceived to be like a negative emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that's the thing, is that grunge speaks about the fact that negative things that happen aren't always for negative reasons. These kinds of things can either build you or teach you how to be able to get through it the next time that it happens. That's why it happened in the first place. Mm-hmm. So that's the lesson that grunge teaches, is that we're going to tell you how shit this is, because you need to understand that this is a real thing that actually is fucking shit, and you got to do something about it. That's the push behind grunge. It's not just like, I'm feeling sad and I'm fucking pissed about it. That's it. It's like, I'm fucking sad. I'm pissed about it. You know why. Focus on it. Don't bullshit yourself. Okay. Like, actually pay attention to the scenario that's going on. Like, grunge is very, very on it with that kind of shit. Fucking, you know, Chris Cornell with, you know, It's an All-Night Thing, talking about fucking drugs and shit. And he's being straight up about it. He's not trying to make it sound pretty. He's not trying to make it sound like funny. It's very sarcastic, and it's very like, it's kind of satire a little bit, you know. But yeah, that's the thing about grunge that I like a lot. It's just really real people being like kind of fed up, but super kind of like sarcastically, like very blunt.
I think that's cool that you bring up the lyrics in grunge, because I think that is a big differentiator in genre. It's like, what are the lyrics about? And like that anger definitely comes through in grunge, and I don't think I ever really put my finger on like how a lot of grunge is about the causality of what's happening, not just what's happening.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
You know, whereas in pop songs, they're all about like, it's kind of similar, but almost like the inverse.
Exactly.
To me, you know, it's like the way you're talking about grunge. It's kind of like an umbrella for for like what pop is doing, but like a more visceral, a more stripped down. Yeah, like the inverse of it.
Exactly.
It's cool.
It's that, and that's why genres are cool, because they're reverse imprints of each other.
Yeah.
Country and blues. They have similarities. They take things from each other, but they're totally fucking different stories.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But they have the same kind of roots in the sense of understanding each other's style. Like, if you put a jazz guy and a country guy together, dude, they're gonna fucking rip. They're just gonna sit there and just fucking jam and be like, dude, you're fucking talented. Yeah, I'm an old cat. I know how to do this shit. You know what I mean? They're just like sitting there fucking going for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's got to be that kind of split. I'm not saying that there has to be, diversity in the sense of like, you got to respect this or that or another. It's what you make it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, grunge is cool in the same way. The fact that, like, people like me, I pay attention to things very closely, especially things that are happening like within the world. Like I said, I'm a very hippie kind of person, so I'm very connected to that kind of. I don't want to use that word, but I guess for the lack of a better term, that kind of energy that surrounds what makes the world do what it does. I'm very connected to that. I could feel, certain things. Not like I can't see the future. I can see the past of my own, but I can't see anybody else's. You know what I mean? But being connected like that allows me to create music within a genre that promotes that. It promotes giving people warnings. It promotes being able to say, like, hey, this is something you need to start paying attention to, not because I'm a fucking crazy person, but because this shit's gonna happen, and I happen to be one of the people that kind of knows about it. So it's like, it's an inspiration to do your own research and to keep yourself safe, because shit is going crazy right now, for the lack of a better term, and without getting into too much detail.
It really is. Things are nuts. I don't know if you're dancing around this, but like, it just reminded me of AI. You guys both went to school for audio engineering, and I haven't messed with AI
so hard.
in AI to do any sort of like audio tasks per se. Have you guys?
Nope.
I haven't messed with it, but there's a lot of AI stuff that you literally can just give it a song and tell it to mix it. Now.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff like that already.
Have you experimented with that?
I haven't experimented with it. I just know that it exists. And I think that's cool, like, for artists that maybe don't have like a really big budget or something,
right,
or they just want shit just to get put out. Because I don't know what that really means, that what the AI will do. You know what I mean? Because in school, like, they taught us like so much shit that you gotta fucking do with like the hi-hat, the fucking snare, the blah blah blah, like all these things that you have to do. And then
AI is just like, hold my beer.
Yeah. So I don't know what it's actually doing, but I'm sure like the musicians that really just want to push it out and don't want to deal with other people will probably use that type of stuff. But
I wonder how that'll affect the work.
Man, I have so many things about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, because like when I talk to drummers, I think when the drum pads came out, they probably thought,
oh,
like,
no,
their job is over. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it probably is going to be something like that, to where if you're good at what you're doing, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, yeah. I see it as sort of like a new tool, in the shed. And it's a matter of like learning how to use these tools, because doing anything just 100% hog on your own, like, yeah, it might be possible for some people, but I think at the end of the day, you're probably going to get a similar result that you would have 5-10 years ago before all this technology was out. It's just like the bar maybe has moved a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
That, and I think music and artistry is fun when you're collaborating.
It's like the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Like that's the point of making art.
It's super fun.
Getting together, talking about it. It's,
That's my argument.
Like, to get good, you're going to have to know how to be lonely, because you have to like practice doing everything on your own. Yeah. But once you're at a point where you can like collaborate and shit, like it's so fun to do so.
It's the whole purpose, right? Like, why make art if you're going to just go off on an island by yourself to do it? You could just do that. You could just do that right now.
You could. Yeah.
Dude.
I feel you have a lot of thoughts on this, Shane.
Oh man, I'm trying to collect them all. That's why I haven't really said much yet. But
take your time.
Oh man, I have a lot of thoughts. Some of them are negative towards AI, and some of them aren't. I have a mental line. Doesn't mean that it's everybody else's. Doesn't mean that I feel like it represents everyone else's opinion about this. I just have a personal line with this for myself. If you use AI for anything that you do artistically, that's cool. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. My rule for myself is that if I think that I have the possibility, the capability, the mental capacity to be able to accomplish something that I'm questioning whether or not I should use AI for, I'm going to be going towards figuring it out myself first. No matter how bad that might sound, it's going to sound a lot more me than it's going to sound, if somebody else put that same song in and asked AI to do it, it's probably going to sound pretty much the same. For me, it takes the artistry and it takes the that spark out of the music. It takes it out of the project, because you are not doing it yourself. You're asking it to do certain things for you that maybe with elements that you've made yourself. But at the end of the day, it's like, can you really tell somebody that you mixed it? Who's going to get paid for the mix? If that's really your goal is to be able to produce music that is true to yourself, then why ask something else rather than somebody else to do it for you? Is it because it's free? Because it's easy to get your hands on? Or is it just because it's super quick, you could do it right now, and it's just a form of laziness in that area? I'm so critical on that stuff. That's why I don't want to make it feel like I'm trying to say that all of you guys are under the same scrutiny. No, I'm very harsh on myself with this kind of stuff.
That's fair. You have your line, and you've thought about this. So I think that's important that you have your stand on this moment in time, because I feel this is a very important moment in time, and it's legitimate. Like, the skills of craftsmen who decide not to intermingle with these new technologies, I think that work is going to be unique, and it's going to start to become more diverse in the marketplace, because there's going to be a lot of AI stuff.
Right.
But I could be wrong about that. Either way, I do see value in staying away from it.
I think it would be sick to see, and this is the other side of it. Those are the negatives of the AI, but the positive parts of this, dude, imagine back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, when there were galleries filled with stuff that said this was computer generated. This is how they do their art, and then they put it next to somebody else that's made their own version of that art, or something similar to that. It's we have our art, and the computer generated stuff is their own section of art. To combine those two, to me, feels kind of not correct. Yeah. To combine those two worlds. Back then they had it, really oh, this was computer generated. How rad is that? And you had a different mentality about it. Now it's just that's computer generated, and it's trying to fucking sell me on some shit, and it's an AI generated human being, telling me that, that they live stream. No. It's getting out of hand.
So I guess from a perspective of editing, because I have been messing with these tools to generate clips to then edit into larger things, and so the way I'm using it right now is kind of as almost like a painter's palette. Yeah. And that's how I enjoy using the technology at this juncture. Yep. There's also other tools at the upscaling technology that it has is really good. I mean, it can just go through an image and it upscales it well. So that's the thing. I think there's going to be a lot of use cases for this, but then there's also things that, maybe you as an artist shouldn't let it touch certain aspects of your work. I don't when AI edits my work.
See,
I messed with some of the editing tools, and I just don't think it does a good job.
Right.
I can make the same stuff a little bit better if I just spend 2 hours on it.
Exactly. It's the amount of time that you have to do it. And if you have a freaking producer jumping down your throat to be able to get something done, and you're all I have is to use AI, don't beat yourself up for it. Get the job done. Get your shit in. But at the end of the day, dude, am I not going to ever use AI? No, I'm definitely gonna use it because, bro, I have numbers that I have to keep track of, and like, you know, packages and stuff like that. Once my company's like solidified, I have to pay attention to all of that myself and with my partner Caesar at the same time. So to have an AI entity being able to organize those things and be able to track those numbers, give us breakdowns for us so we can look at those things, not necessarily as the end-all be-all answer, but to already have a summary of what's happening and then go back through the work and check it.
I think there's still gonna be, because at this point there's a trust issue with AIs, right?
Sure.
Which is why we're gonna hopefully for the next few years at least need people overseeing them in the work environment, because these things will just lie to you, to people please.
Totally.
But I am curious, like, I do wonder if it could spawn a world in which everybody is like the chief of their own individual company. I mean,
that's what I'm pushing for myself, dude. Like, shit, that seems the most sustainable, something you could pass on to your family and to your kids, sustain their lives and maybe their kids' lives.
I think as an artist, we look at AI as a threat for the art.
Yeah.
But if you have to, because the world is going in the direction that it's going and you're not going to be able to stop it, you're going to have to learn how to integrate with it anyways.
Right.
So it's better to learn it and use it as a tool. Like if you want to learn something, you can ask it, be like, I want to learn audio engineering. Can you develop a structure that helps me learn it in audio engineering in a way that I can get it to industry standards, and I want it to be an 8-week program, and I want to be able to mix rock songs and pop songs so that it is within the industry standards. Help me make that so I can learn it. And then boom, it'll literally, all right, these are the things you need to learn, blah, 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 and these are the steps you need to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like those are ways you can like learn to integrate with it, because it's not gonna go away.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's changing the world, and it's vast. It's changing the West in a big way, I think, rapidly. What I'm hoping happens is that new trades develop and become hyper focused. Like, we're able to become hyper specialized in a specific avenue of directing these technologies, so that we're trusted as individuals capable of these things, and other companies like source us out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does actually. That is profound, sir. Like that's because that would work if you, and here's my ADHD brain breaking it down. But that could work. Doing something like that, making it to where you use the AI to be able to teach people how to be not necessarily at the same level as a computer, because, dude, there are some impossibilities, at least thus far, in that realm. So to be able to have the ability to do that, dude, to be able to just kind of like use it as a teaching realm, to be able to make it to where it's not taking people's jobs away as teachers. It's allowing somebody who can't otherwise afford to do that to be able to be at that same level. You know, like encouraging people to go and get professional advice from an actual person is advised. But if you can't do that, at least having a baseline. It ain't going to be perfect because it's AI, but you're going to have a baseline. Like you can totally do that. You can make a program. Yeah. And then learn from it, use those things, and as a human being, you're going to be talking to other human beings and see how the world works right now, and be able to use those skills to be able to record, mix, engineer at an industry standard level.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
Yeah, because it's, let's say, like, you don't want to take on fucking 60 racks of debt to go to school. You know what I mean?
Ouch. It makes less sense now more than ever.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I mean? Because, like, if I didn't have, like, the military to pay for my shit, that was, like, $60,000 program. And honestly, like, it was really good. Like, it was cool. And the only thing that you wouldn't be able to learn on your own is to learn how to play with the board. Yeah. But everything else is like almost YouTubeable for real.
Dude.
Like honestly. Like or take one of those master classes from like the fucking people online that's been doing engineering for a long time or whatever.
I was carpooling with a friend who went to well, he crashed a screening at USC.
Oh, nice.
And as at USC, they screen all of the Marvel movies because Kevin Feige went there.
Okay.
Right. And so he shows them there a few weeks early, and like they talk about it, right?
Sick.
So he snuck in with a lady friend of his that was going there at the time, and they wait till the end of the movie. It was one of those Thor movies. He didn't like the movie, and so somebody else raised their hand because he didn't want to ask the question. But the guy asked the perfect question of Mr. Feige. He was like, "What was the most important thing you did at school when you were here at USC? USC, right? Like premier film school in the world." And he said, "I'm so sorry, faculty. You guys are great. I'm so sorry. Administration, thank you for having me. While I was here, the most important thing I did was I skipped all my classes or the ones I could, and I worked on movies with friends who I met here."
Yeah, exactly.
And
just doing the shit. You just
do the shit. And the thing about
the most
like
important part.
going to school is that you guys are all agreeing that we're gonna fucking indebt ourselves or pay our money or whoever, whatever we're all going to be taking this as serious as we possibly can in this moment in time.
Yeah.
And like you're in the same environment with the same people in that situation.
Yeah.
It's time to group up. It's time to assemble.
Yep.
That's literally like if you're going to school and you're not creating those type of connections to make, like especially in an art school type thing, and you're not making projects with the people around you, like you're wasting the opportunity that you have, because even at MI, like the musicians that we fucking work with there, like the session players, were insane.
They were ridiculously good, dude.
Like you tell them fucking bossa nova at fucking 128 BPM in the key of G. They'd be like, oh, like this? You know?
Talk about
and it's
AI.
it's like,
insane.
what the fuck? And then you tell the drummer, okay, now you play something that works with that. Okay, and it just play. And okay, bass guy.
Dude.
You know, come on in, you know? And then it's just like, all of a sudden you got a whole fucking song already. It's like, what the fuck?
I feel like the people that were like the most like mind blowing, bro, fucking vocalist Danny was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, man. And I think his name was Daniel was drummer, right?
Daniel. No, I just talked to him.
Fuck.
Shit.
He's like a taller me, basically, with short hair.
Diaz. His last name is Diaz.
Yeah. Dude.
He's white, but he's Mexican.
Yeah.
Hey, Paso.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's
cool.
Fucking monster.
Yeah,
though.
he's really good.
Logan on bass guitar is ridiculous.
And
man,
Bargov on the guitar. Was really good.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Like there's few musicians there that was like any genre. You just tell them the genre and the BPM and the key, and they'll just fucking spit it out for you, dude. It's crazy. It was insane.
You could tell them to do straight up songs, like be like something obscure or whatever, and just try to find that song, and they'll be like, look at each other and be like, you know that one? Oh yeah. You know that one? Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And it's there.
Yeah.
Like, you could take that first fucking take and be like, all right, cool, thanks, guys.
That's how I made that Bossa Nova Post Malone song.
And that was a sick song.
Yeah.
Is Danny the guy who's singing? Because I think I may have heard him. Okay.
No, he's that's a homie, one of the surf homies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you recorded this track of this gentleman singing, and that was really good too.
Yeah, he's really good. I need to get him on the pod.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
But oh man, what are you guys? So what's interesting to me hearing about music and like because you guys went to music school, I went to film school.
Okay.
Is it sounds like you have this experience of like guys and gals, not trying to be exclusionary, and they're all like
anywhere in between,
and they're all coming together, and it sounds like they're just there, they can perform, they got it right, they got it. At film school, it was like we were all salespeople, but no one had confidence. So like we didn't know what we were selling, we didn't know why we were selling it. Some people were really good, I wasn't good. Some people were selling way better. Yeah. And they were able to package us together and make things happen. I guess that's like that was a big thing for me in that school. I mean, did you guys feel like, how did it feel for you? You guys were coming there to learn audio engineering. Were you able to like sell yourselves there? Did you ever learn how to sell yourself in school? Because by the end of film school, I realized I did not sell myself. And if I had been more mindful of like selling myself as a man who could deliver services, I think I could have leveraged my degree better.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of that should be part of the program for real.
For real.
Because that's the only part, like, I think I did okay, but because I was so fixated on just making money to pay my bills, I didn't put enough time, like, advertising my mixing and engineering stuff.
There weren't business
You know what I
classes
mean?
in our school.
Yeah,
in my school.
because like I feel like I'm a pretty decent engineer, and what I learned in school, I feel like I really learned that shit.
Right.
I just didn't set up something to where it was like, oh, soul engineer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
to create that association. Because
Totally.
I was like going to school and doing night gigs, like working.
Yeah.
So I was like, fucking, my brain was already so like jumbled everywhere. You know what I mean?
Holy
And
shit. That's right. You were doing fucking rigging back then.
yeah, I was like doing all
Oh my
the staging
God.
shit.
Talking about waking up sore and fucking brains. You were like double sore.
Yeah.
Your brain was done. Your body was done. You were
Yeah.
just like, I'm gonna go to school today.
Yeah, that's
Time to
literally how it
learn.
was. I was
Fuck.
like fucking going to school and working, and I was like dying. Like,
Dude.
I'm like, what the fuck?
It made me feel like every time I complained, I felt so dumb because I would just be like, yeah, man, I didn't sleep too well last night. I feel like crap today. He was like, yeah, I worked until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh, I'm no longer complaining.
But you know, with those like late night works, the sleeps are really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not when you have to wake up to go to school.
Yeah, the sleep after that though, if you don't have anything the next day. Ooh.
Shoot.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think that's essentially what I'm still learning now. Is like fucking marketing myself at this
same.
point, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
like, and perhaps like you just have to learn that with experience, unless you want to go with an MBA. I don't think I'm an
But
MBA
even
guy.
then,
Right.
like, even people with those, like, if you don't like apply it in a certain way, like, you're still not gonna be able to learn it because it's still
That's-
it's like a.
That's what scares me
like
about going down to get like more degrees, right? To
Yeah.
go for the
Yeah,
master in
dude.
business. It's like, okay, on theory, I love the idea of that. I love learning about that,
Yeah.
but it's also like that's another type of the rat race, right? That's
Yep.
just
Yeah.
like a different position in the pyramid,
Yes.
but it's the same pyramid.
Right. It's the same pyramid. You're literally, in the same exact realm where everybody else is that's within that field. It's just that you're on different tiers of that pyramid. So it's like you are who you are when you said that you want to be a musician, or if you want to do podcasts, if you want to do audio engineering, like
yeah.
anything like that, like you already are who you are already
Yeah.
before you even go to the schooling for it. It's just that for a lot of people, it's the schooling that ignites that ability to say, I am who I am. There are some classes at MI, like the Making Money as a Musician class that was taught by Chris Fletcher, which was...
That sounds like a useful class.
She was incredible, dude. She was probably one of the most credible people that I could say, taught that genre of a class.
The short lady.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Dude, she was freaking rad.
Yeah,
I'm picturing the lady that makes the suits in The Incredibles.
kind of,
Dude.
but wider.
Yeah, bro. Dude.
But she was really nice.
She
Like,
was the coolest.
She used to, you could ask her whatever, and
Yes.
like, she would just tell you how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah, and she was just like, make sure you stay in contact with me after you're out of school, and she would say that to a lot of us. She was just like, make sure that if you really do need that help and you're serious about doing it, contact me and I'll tell you exactly how to do it right then and there. So
Yeah, I need to contact her. I haven't.
Hit her up.
dude, you should.
Hit her up,
You should, dude. She's like instantaneously helpful. It's no
Yeah.
like hold on, give me 5 weeks. It's like maybe a couple of hours later, she'll give you like a list of things that you really should do.
Yeah,
Dude, she's incredibly helpful.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
See, and that's the part I think I wasted because I was moving too fast.
I get
Like
you.
life was lifing me,
Yeah.
and it was beating me up still.
Yeah, I'm still in that ring.
And so like I did take advantage of the school to a certain degree, but probably not to the fullest because I wasn't so like concentrated on it. It was like so many different avenues that I was trying to juggle. Like it was hard to be a good student, be an engineer, go to work, be a partner, be a whatever. Like it was like so many things I'm juggling. It's like fuck. I'm like now I'm just like mediocre at all these things because I'm not just focusing on like this, and that was I think the toughest part especially even just being an artist in general, it's tough because it's just like I think every artist until they make it is like it's tough.
Yeah, until you make it, you're being a crazy person, right? Like that's how it feels. Like whenever I'm hanging out with my family, is like they're just like, we believe in you, I guess, because like we've seen.
For real.
You just got to do you. Jelly Roll is like. Have you guys seen any of his interviews?
I just seen
I don't think so.
what's his name? The comedian that imitates him. The other guy with the mullet. I don't know why the name.
Theo Von.
Yeah,
bro.
He has like an impression of him, and I remember that
Yeah,
part. That's
that
funny.
shit's funny.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll was on this podcast. I think it was with Rogan, and he was just talking about how like if he could talk to the video game to the guy who's playing him in the video game in the simulation, dude, they would be like so fucking thrilled about what's going on. They wouldn't believe it because he doesn't believe it. He was in jail for however many years, convicted felon. And he was practicing music. He was playing and releasing music, and I think it was rap. I think he was doing rap for 13 years.
Wow.
And he decided to make a country album.
Nice.
And
it took off.
And it started happening.
Nice.
Wow.
But like he was fucking grinding. He was in that fucking grind. And yeah, I think that's what it takes. Like you just have to keep showing up. Keep showing up for yourself every day.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that your family, they love you to death. They love you through and through, and they will constantly tell you that. They're never going to be honest with you about how they feel about you doing anything within the arts.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
And if they are, you might have to not listen.
In an Asian family,
That's what I mean. It depends. That's what I mean.
In an Asian family, bro, they honest all the time about that.
That's what I mean. But that's the thing is that like that's what I'm saying though. But they love you. But the thing is that they are not going to understand your vision within this realm of work because they don't see it as
something viable.
Maybe, I was gonna say not maybe every parent feels this way about it, but like a lot of parents are like, this is not a real job. Like this is not gonna make you money right now. And dude,
I would say most immigrant parents probably feel this way.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, you're running on the narrative of the old American dream when you come here.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, that dream is very much alive still. I think it's just different family to family. The families that have been here longer, they probably have seen like some wild people make it, and they're like, "Fuck, that guy did it." And he did what he wanted to do. So, YOLO,
dude.
It's just perspective, I suppose.
100%, and it has to do with 100% with the fact that you have to learn how to be strong for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be able to wake up in the morning and say, "This shit is fucking viable. It is my job. It is my career. I don't care that I wasn't employed by anybody. I employed myself."
Yeah.
This is my path, and if you stay true to it, don't be a dick about it. But be true.
Yeah.
Be true to yourself. Just be like, give yourself the confidence, but don't step on other people to have that confidence. Just know that your confidence about what you're doing right now is enough for you to be confident in yourself and not have to use another medium like, putting somebody else's work down to say that yours is better, to make you feel better about your own stuff.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I hope I didn't do that.
No, heck no. No, I'm just saying for like in general for like anybody else out there, it's just like it's just a good rule of thumb.
Honestly, yeah, like there's I'm not good at reading the Bible, but there's this part in the book of James. The book of James is a large part about that, about just being careful what you say.
Yeah.
And I think what you say in large part dictates the world as it forms around you.
Sure.
I don't know how it works, I don't know why, but what you're putting out there is vital to your life. So yeah, if you're going to be talking about other people's work, be mindful of how you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that person's going to, and this is something that, I feel like every artist learns the hard way. You talk down to one person and it usually is only one person. If you got your head on straight, they will come back and fucking destroy you. They will come back with a triple vengeance on whatever you told them they sucked at and destroy whatever the heck you made. Whatever you release, they will come back with something even more destructive than what you had. And then in the rap world, it's really, really fucking present. Like they'll call each other out and be like, "Dude, I'm sorry, but if I put in 15 more minutes of my time, I could get this way better than what I released. So keep your mouth shut about my stuff and make your own." Like they're very much like that. And I respect that. Shit. I mean,
Yeah.
shoot. I mean, that's definitely something that I feel like a lot of musicians run on is like, you're either really pompous about what you do and how it compares to other people's, or you're just looking to find out what everybody else is doing. You're just excited about it the whole time.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, dude, look what this guy's doing.
Yeah.
You know, like that's even within the film industry too, like watching my dad and stuff like that. Like I'm sure you've seen a lot of that. You know, being able to go into other people's projects and be like, holy shit, look how we did that.
Yeah.
You know, like that is true love for you know, for music and, you know, engineering or whatever you might be doing. Like being able to go in there and just like not give a shit about whoever's doing whatever. It's just you're interested in the actual art that's being created there.
Yeah, like are they delivering truth? Is this
Right,
moving
yeah.
me? That's
Yeah.
the most important thing at the end of the day.
Heck yeah.
Is this going to move an audience?
Yeah, and that's the thing that I loved about our teacher TJ.
Oh, bro.
And
Helmrich, bro.
if you watch him engineer, you'd be like, how the fuck have you been in this industry for so long? But his motto is always like, does it sound good?
Yup.
And you're like, yeah. He's like, it doesn't matter how it gets there. Just does it fucking sound good? You know what I mean?
What about his board operating is so...
It's not the board. It's like when
his
you watch him
brain.
on Pro Tools.
Oh.
Like I tried to watch him on Pro Tools to understand like what's going on. Cause like we have another instructor. What's our mixing instructor's name?
Rick.
Rick. Yeah.
What
Rick.
was his last name?
So Rick, he's like by the fucking like
Yeah.
like there's a
Formula
process.
and-
You know,
Yeah.
there's like you do this, you do this, you do this, you make this template so you can make it like
Yep.
everything is set up like streamlined. And then when I watch TJ, it's like, what the fuck is this? You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's
Dude.
just like fucking we're
Like watching
all-
Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
watching a painter that just like really smooth lines, and then a painter that just throwing shit on the fucking canvas.
Yeah.
You know what
Dude.
I mean? Like it looked like that, and I was like, whoa! It just gave me like it allowed me to relax.
Yup.
Watching that.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
a lot of different ways about, getting there.
Yeah.
Dude, and it would sound so good.
Yeah, it sounded
time.
good, and that helped me see engineering as an art form also,
Heck yeah.
because it really was like there's a good way and a way you can learn it fundamentally so that you have some level of structure so you're just not shooting blindly,
Right.
but to a certain point you can literally just make it how you want it.
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Totally.
that really helped me in school because I was really beating myself up because sometimes I wouldn't remember some of the shit. Like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck, what dB should this be at? And blah, 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 like all these things and
Dude.
whatever. And it was just like, once I saw him, he was like, does it sound good? And that's literally how I go with, does it sound good? Yeah, you know?
Dude.
And that's it.
But he's also the kind of, like, that's the thing, is that like, I don't feel like every human being can accomplish that kind of understanding of other human beings. With TJ, it was different. This dude, literally, he can 100% say that this happened. We were in class, we came in there, he drew a fucking giraffe and put mics on it, and then every single fucking one of us understood how to drum a micro fucking drum set after that.
Oh, yeah.
Every single fucking one of us. And he mic'd a fucking giraffe, and all of us were like, oh! Dude, this dude is crazy.
This went above my head, but I can appreciate it, I think, on a fundamental level. Like,
Bro,
that's
His
sick.
examples was just
He's
so creative.
Yeah, he's out there, but
Yeah.
he's like out there in a way that makes you guys understand.
Yeah.
That's
and
so
then
sick.
he would break down, like he has these like frequency charts, and he would
Yeah.
just break
Oh,
down like his.
shit.
It was like a whole frequency chart of these are the frequencies if you want him to feel this way and blah blah blah. Like it was like
Yes.
all this crazy shit. It was like
Bro.
what the fuck.
He sounds like Terrence Howard.
Yeah,
TJ
kinda.
He sounds
Bro.
like he's really coming from engineering, like you said, like as an
Yeah.
art form.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
other gentleman, I mean, also doing it artfully, had a more like
It was like
regimented,
military style
Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
yeah,
like,
formulaic.
yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And
So
that's like the
it's-
beautiful thing about art, right? And,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of just every aspect in life, there's a lot of ways to do it,
Yeah.
and especially here, USA. Got a lot of avenues to pursue.
And then Buckley.
Francis
Fra-
Buckley.
Francis. Yeah. So in
Black Flag, dude.
in the SSL. So the SSL console is like just like a really big console, and there's so many songs that's been played on it or whatever. and on there's a stereo bus compressor. I love that thing, right? And you fucking put the whole mix into the stereo bus. It just makes things like blah, just like thumps shit.
Fuck
You know,
yeah.
like all the bass is like blah, like it just fucking goes, right? And every time I would plug that shit in Francis's class, he'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? You gotta get everything clean." And he would just always shut it off. And I'm like, "What? It sounds so good," you know? and it was just so funny because then we'll go to Michael. And I'll do it in his. And he's like, "Here, I'll show you how to make it sound good with this," you know? And he'll teach me how to use the stereo bus compressor. And we'll make it thump in the fucking room. And he's like, "Yeah, this is sick." And he's like, and I would tell him, like, Francis always makes me shut this off, right? And he goes, "Why?" I was like, "Because he said I got to get everything clean." He's like, "Well, that's true, but it's also like, this sounds good, right?" You know, and I'm like, yeah. So it was like, it's
But
so
does it
funny.
sound good?
So I knew, like for his class not to add a bunch of extra shit just to get it clean, and then for like the other instructors I can do like fucking whatever, because and you just have to see like the purpose for each one, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's all like how water. It's legit like. The most stoner way to describe how this shit works, it's like how how rivers flow through fucking different ecosystems, man. They have to flow one way. You can't just spawn water from one spot to another. There has to be a trail that goes to each and every individual section for each, biodiverse animal group to be able to, drink that water. It's the same thing with audio. If you have a board, you have to understand that your source has to connect to the next piece, to the next piece, to the next piece to get to the board, if that's how you're doing it. So it's all in a line.
To get to the tape machine.
Which
Which is Pro Tools now.
Yeah. Unless you're at MI and you take the freaking
Actual tape
analog.
machine?
Yeah. It was
That's
that
cool they
MTX
had
90
you
or
do
something
that,
like that. Yeah.
That's sick. If you went the cinematography track at my school, they had you shoot and develop film.
Oh, that's
Fuck
sick.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that's sick. You know what's crazy? I was gonna go to cinematography school instead of music school.
Really?
I remember you
Yeah.
talking to me about that too.
Yeah, before I was looking into, I don't know, one of the big ones in LA. I did like the whole tour and everything.
Like AFI.
Yeah, or something. Like
yeah,
one
the
of the
New York
big. It was like
one.
an actual school, like the actual campus or whatever.
Yeah.
I forget.
Mine is actual school too, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I just don't remember the name. It was like some.
There's a lot of schools out here.
Yeah.
Darren Aronofsky, I think he went to the New York Film Academy out here.
Oh, that's the one.
yeah.
yeah, it
That's
was
a
that.
good
That's
school.
rad.
A lot of
Yeah.
great directors come out of there.
I was gonna go there, and it just didn't happen. Eventually, I just ended up going to audio engineering school.
Hey,
But
it's never too
yeah.
late.
Yeah. So, since I met you, you've been in like I don't know how many bands. How many bands have you?
Since I've met you?
Yeah.
Since I've met you.
Because I met you
too.
when you were in Sunwick.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was my last band actually.
Okay.
The one that actually has seen shows and seen stage time is
Yeah.
Sunwick. Vettagrit now. We've seen the stage a couple of times. Not a whole bunch, but like I said before, we're working on an EP right now, 4 songs, and then a full length 12-song album is going to be coming out after that as well.
Okay.
So we have a whole bunch of shit that's getting ready to go. Beware of merch. That shit is going to be happening.
So,
Like, heavy.
So for people who want to create bands, we were just talking about this in the car. I was like, man, having fucking 5 people to deal with and scheduling and all that stuff, it's got to be tough. Like, what would you say? Let's say 3 big like lessons you've learned from working with bands to kind of like keep it kosher and keep it together and keep the vibe moving. You know what I mean?
Dude, encourage everybody to be able to at least know how to record their own instrument. Allow them to make their own sound. Encourage them to be able to make a space within their home for their instrument, whether it be a full-on fucking studio or just a room that has a little bit of sound deadening and some mics. I figured out with Vettagrit because Sunwick was all here in my studio.
Okay.
All of us would record in that one space, and we would do it all like that. It was all in-house. Everything was in one spot. With Vettagrit, I've been able to figure out that having my drummer Chen have his own drum studio back at his house to be able to do drum work with, he lives about an hour and a half or about an hour away. So being able to just send him tracks that I've recorded already for the songs, and then send those tracks to him and be like, hey, I have a rough drum track. I'll send it to you as well. Plug it in and see what you think. Have him record his shit. He sends me clean tracks. He sends me back those tracks. Then I can do the same thing with my guitarist, my bass guitarist.
Nice.
You know, it's just, it makes it so much easier because, you know, I work with WAV files. If you send me a WAV file, I can turn that into basically anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, like, it just depends on what you want from it. But that's what I've learned is most important. Being able to allow people to have their own sound regardless of how deep that goes. If that means all the way up until mic placement, you just got to let them know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, that's legit. Like, you know, one of you guys has to be a producer in that way.
Okay.
So, like, I figured out that I've always kind of taken that seat. I've always been able to give pretty useful advice, I'd say, you know, to get people to get to where they want to be in the sense of tone.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm never, you know, miking up other people's shit anymore in my band. Chen mics his own drum set.
Nice.
Caesar mics his own amp. I mic my own amp, and my bass guitarist mics her own amp.
So, lesson 1 is teach people how to record themselves so that the recording process can be streamlined and can happen like at any time, pretty much, right?
Exactly, from anywhere.
Cool.
Yeah, that's sick. I mean, yeah, you guys can just, somebody comes up with something, boom, send it.
Yeah.
And then somebody else can add on to that, boom, send it.
Exactly.
It's efficient. It's
Super
clean. Yeah. Like frictionless.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You don't want to have there's another way that this can go too. You don't want to not practice as a band. You want to be able to make time to do that. You don't want to just make these songs separated like that, because if you play it live, it's gonna feel fucking weird, dude. It ain't gonna work.
God practice.
You gotta get into each other's rhythm.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the other half of that lesson there.
How about like keeping the band together? Like what would be a lesson for that?
Dude, just, you know, respect each other's space and time. You know, everyone has lives. Everyone has, you know, shit they have to do outside of music. For some people, music isn't like 100% everything they do. You know, for me, I dedicate at least 75% of my life to it. So, you know, I'm really, really, really in it all the time. And there's other people that do it 50% of the time. They have other shit they have to do. Just making it to where you're respectful of other people's lifestyles and, you know, not trying to mold them or change them to be able to fit into the band. Rather, mold and change the band to this member. If you really do actually mean what you say when you say, you're my drummer or you're my bass guitarist, or you're my whatever. You know, if you're honest about that and you mean it, then you should be able to work the band around the members. So that's kind of how I've seen it. It's, you know, it's not bending over for everybody for their every want. It's more of making it more accessible for everyone so they could do it comfortably.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And let's see. Damn, I had a question while you were talking. That's 2. And third lesson would be, how do you guys go about like scheduling your shows and seeing how everyone needs to show up or whatever? Like, do you guys have like, this is our band, this is the brand that we're trying to represent? Like, do you have like those type of guidelines that you?
It depends. It's mostly, you know, for attire and stuff like that, just make sure that it's respectful. You know what I mean? You don't want to piss somebody off in some random corner for no reason, just to wear something or to have something on an instrument or whatever, or to say something.
You don't want to wear Kanye's latest.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that episode and I was like, what in the fuck is going on here?
I kind of want to watch it, but it's like, I feel like
I just saw a clip and I was
I'm
like,
afraid.
Whoa.
I'm afraid.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's going hard.
Yeah,
dude. He's really, he's committing.
Diving deep.
He's committing to
Yeah,
the bit.
for real.
In maybe not the best way.
Fucking helicopter.
You know,
you were trying to record.
It's amazing though. These things pick up like not a lot.
I know, it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
It doesn't get
that's
any
why
of
I
that?
like it's
Wow.
really good at that. Like these mics are really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Holy
why
shit.
I like them for podcasting.
So they're like directional as fuck.
yeah. Because
That's cool.
Dynamic mics, you know what I mean? Because if you use the condenser, fuck, dude, it'll pick up the fucking whistling.
This is why
Yeah.
they use these mics for like live audiences, right?
Right,
Like comedy,
yeah,
when
yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
you know, a lot of crowd pops.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Dude, that's great.
Dope, man. Well, I think we got everything we needed today, man.
Hell yeah.
This was super fun.
Dude.
Appreciate you having us here and enjoying the ramp and kicking it and using the flux capacitor earlier.
Bro. I'm telling you, flip it on its side.
Yale got to experience the flux capacitor.
I did. I went back to the future.
Yeah. Twice.
The future is green.
The future is green. It's purple and sticky.
Thank you so much for having us, Shane. It was a fun time, like vibing. You know,
dude.
you have a good setup, and
Yeah,
I like what you're doing. It sounds like you have a good plan, and you believe in what you're doing. I think that's the most important thing.
And the people that are doing it with me too. Those people are fucking. That's the other part of it. I wouldn't be able to do it without those people, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta take care of our people.
Yeah, bro. Well,
plug away, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, for sure. Okay, so Vettagrit, Vettagrit. That's on Instagram. You can look that up and it'll pop up straight up. Be on the lookout for more updates coming out on the Instagram. That is the only thing that we have right now to put updates onto. But we are working on, like I said, an EP. It's a 4-song EP. And then right after that, we're going to be going straight into the studio for more recording for a full-length album. So we're going to have that going on, a whole bunch of merch, and a very easy way to get to it. So please go ahead and follow us on Instagram. That would help us a lot.
Sick. Awesome. With that being said, see you guys on the next one. Bye.